Okay. Namaste everyone. Welcome to Samvad Bharati. And this is Niti for New Age series. And in that, we are doing Niti Sara from Garuda Mahapurana. This is fifth in the series of chapters that are part of Niti Sara. And in the Garuda Mahapurana itself, it's chapter 112. Till now, we have discussed till Niti 12 in this chapter. Uh, so till Niti 12, it was all about different types of employees or people who will be working under a king and how they should be elected and how they should be selected and what are the qualities that they should possess. And we have also seen the modern relevance of the same thing because modern in corporate world also a CEO or a manager, they themselves act like a king, and under them also there are many people who take care of many roles. Today we will start with some doshas of a leader or a king, some negative qualities that should not be there. And then we will also see what will happen and how that will affect if such qualities exist. These apply to your own self also, like you yourself, if you consider as a king, and some functionalities will be there under you, some people or some teams. So you can apply it for yourself also. So we have talked about different roles that will be there under the king, like Lekhaka, Pathaka, Ganaka, Pratibodhaka. These roles, sometimes king themselves will also perform. They will perform, or they might supervise these people at some times. So there are times when these things should not be done. We'll see. लेखकः पाठकश्चैव गणकः प्रतिबोधकः आलस्ययुक्तश्चेद्राजा कर्मणो वर्जयेत् सदा. So certain activities are said to be avoided, whether it is by the king itself or whether the king is supervising them, these people. So what are those? We'll see. If a king is inclined to laziness, sometimes there might be moments it's not possible for a normal human to be active all the times. There might be times when the person might be feeling lazy. At those times he should always, or the person who is the leader should always avoid the duties of a scribe. Lekhakaha. Lekhaka is someone who will do the communication, like the writer's duty demands. So in the lekhaka part there should be accuracy and clarity. The lekhaka cannot write whatever they feel like or whatever, some random things. It should be very clear and it should be understandable. It should be something that, so it's like a word of the king. So if a word is said, it can't be taken back. Like it's very difficult to take it back. And something that is written, it goes out and it goes into the public. So laziness, the work of a scribe, lekhaka, should not be done because it would produce flawed records and unclear directives. Yeah, unclear directives to people. Lekhaka, these writings are often done when the king have to communicate something to. It's like a policy, or it's like a set of guidelines for the people who are under them. It's like some announcement also. Sometimes the king has to announce something to the public. So all these things happen through lekaka or through the act of lekhana. Such activities, if done in the times of laziness, then it might create a problem not just for the king, but it's for the entire kingdom itself. So that's why the role of a lekhaka should be avoided. Then a reader, a pathaka. So there are two types of reading, like reading for pleasure, some joy, random reading that can be done. It doesn't really cause harm. I mean, even that should be avoided because, um I mean, if one wants to get a complete essence of the writing, then they should not read a text when they are feeling lazy, particularly if it is a technical document, if it meant to communicate something. And in the case of a king or a leader, here what it means is the readings, like for example some report has come from the kingdom or from the office space, some kind of proposal has come or something that they have to read, and then they have to sign it or pass it forward. Such kind of reading should be avoided, because the purpose of reading is to absorb and also interpret, right? When we read, we interpret constantly the information whatever is being read, and after interpreting, some decisions have to be made. Even if the decisions are not made, let's say some reading is just for the sake of reading, even that will have some kind of influence. So one should be aware of what kind of influence this reading is going to have on me. So readings, through readings only, people get motivated to do certain activities. Through readings, there are many revolutions that have come in the world. There are some kind of, so that's the reading of a piece of content can motivate a person to even go to the, even go to the extent of causing harm, or even creating violence also. So there is a great influence of reading. That's why it should be avoided when someone is feeling lazy. Particularly if it's a king, they should avoid it, because they will miss crucial details. For example, yeah, the king will not be, I mean, they will have separate time for reading for pleasure and all, but in general, the reading here mentioned is the reports and the messages. There might be some communication happen. So all these things, if they are read when the king is feeling lazy, then it will cause again misinformed decisions, and that can cause, because anything that a king does will have great impact on the kingdom. The next role is the Ganakaha. Ganakaha is an accountant. So for all these roles, what are the qualities we have discussed previously? Ganaka, accountant, is again a very important role, because that is the person who keeps the financial records. Again, there will be, it could be supervising, or it could be the king themselves doing these roles. And when keeping financial records, it requires great attention, and there should, everything should be mentioned. Even if of, let's say even 5 rupees are spent on something, even that account should be there, or else there will be differences in what is spent and what is being written or recorded, and that will be counted as corruption. So it's very important to know, that's the problem, right? Even in the modern world, I think the problem of Byju's is the problem with the accounts itself. So there the accounts are not properly maintained. I think the records, financial records, are not tallying. So that created a huge problem. So it requires great attention and great skill as well. So king should not do the job of a Ganaka. Like they themselves might be keeping a record. Okay, I did this, and then they might be communicating to the accountant that they have under them, or they might be supervising them. So when the king feels lazy, they should not do this activity. And the last one is pratibodhakaha. They should not do the act of pratibodhana, which is basically instructing. This role again, so we instruct, when instructing, if the person is lazy, they might say uh, instruct wrongly, right? For example, you are instructing a person to let's say perform an act of uh, like welding. Let's say a person has to do the welding. This is just a random example. King might not give instructions like that, but in general, if someone has to instruct someone to do welding, and if they are lazy, they are feeling lazy and lethargically, I mean, in a lethargic way, they'll just say wrong, like give wrong instruction. Then it will not give proper joint over there, proper fix. So like that, I mean, if someone is feeling lazy, particularly if it's a king, they should avoid the role of pratibodhana because when you are instructing someone, then it requires proactive monitoring. You should keep monitoring whether they are doing exactly what you have instructed. And then sometimes it requires intervention also because they might not understand it completely, and it might require your intervention. You might need to go and tell them properly how to do that. So a lazy instructor would fail to give necessary warnings. Sometimes we have to give warnings also, right? In between, don't do this, don't do like that also. And guidance, yeah, that's what we are doing. So when an act of pratibodhana is done while someone is feeling lazy, particularly if it's a king, it will again cause great problems and problems that affect the entire kingdom. So these there are many activities one must avoid when they are feeling lazy. In the case of a king, these are like high priority activities, and these things should be avoided by a king. In a modern world, also, it's again a similar thing. Scribes' work will come as strategic communication, readers' work, analyzing data or some kind of report, or even simple act of checking CVs. If you're doing this in a lazy way, then you will hire some wrong person. You might hire some wrong person, and then training them would be a problem. So like that. Accountant's work is like a big no. You should always avoid when you're feeling lazy, and also instructor's work because again it will cause problems. And when the problem comes in, you will be made responsible for that. So when mentoring also, you should not be lazy. So whenever you feel lazy, you should avoid these activities. These four. So you can test your understanding using this scenario. I'll just will try it out. A CEO excels at high level strategy but dislikes operational details. High level strategy is uh, like a superficial high level, like we will do this, we will do like that and all. Like for example, in a project one can say, okay, let's build an app to deliver food from houses, like that. That's an high level thing. Operational details, how will we do that? That is the operational details. So, so the person dislikes this thing with a critical quarterly review approaching, which is the wisest course of action for them. So for them, either they can force themselves to personally analyze all raw sales data, write the full investor report, all that, delegate it, assuming their team will handle it perfectly without oversight. The third thing, acknowledge their aversion to detail. It's about awareness, right? Here, the person here is lazy towards these details. So that must be acknowledged, and then someone else can be empowered and they can take care of that. So uh, it's about this whether first you should understand whether you are in a position to do a particular activity. If you cannot do, as a leader, you can always delegate it to a right person, and then you can focus on the review. I mean, you can focus on the summaries. You can just take a look at the summary, and if you have any more questions, you can ask them. Okay, you can check for your own self how it is going in your own life. Is there a duty that you avoid or you don't like to do? Uh, and then how you can overcome that? Like, this is the part where you are lazy towards that activity. This is the strategy that you can try. It's if you're a leader, then it's better to delegate. If you are someone as an individual, you should always try to overcome it by breaking by taking up that same activity in small chunks. For example, here the operational details are something that the person is lazy towards. So what they can do is they can first try to start understanding, uh, or start with maybe small operational details. For example, if the delivery of the food has to happen to, let's say, one big in a big city like like Bangalore. Instead of thinking for Bangalore, they can think for their own street. How will they do that? And then slowly they can rise that understanding. Or so it's basically breaking your task into chunks and then doing it. And then if you are delegating, make sure you stay accountable for whatever they do, so that you can do by asking them, like, there is a raw data and there is a way you can consume it. So ask them to give that raw data in a way that you can consume and make decisions. So that's how you can deal with this. Next verse, it's on malice. Yeah. द्विजिह्वमुद्वेगकरं क्रूरमेकान्तदारुणं खलस्य हेश्च वदनमपकाराय केवलम्. Okay, here we are talking about Dvijihva. Dvijihva is double tongue. Double tongue is something that will be there for a snake. Ahi. Ahi will have this two tongues, right? It will have a cut in between. A wicked person is said to be like an ahi, which is a snake. They have this double tongue, not like they'll have a cut, but they will speak one word in front of you and another in front of someone else, another in front of another person. Like that, they'll speak the opposites and they'll carry things from one place to another. That is one thing. And how their words will be. How will you know that some person is a double tongued person? Mm, Yeah, so the parallel is between snake and the wicked person. So the wicked person we have seen even in the previous Nitis, you should avoid them because they'll cause many kinds of problems, and there is no way you come out of such a wicked association without having any harm for your own self. Same qualities, or like how a wicked person is also someone who always wants to harm. They'll have vijihvam, double-tongued person. So yeah, this refers to duplicity. Like how what they'll do is they will, as I said, they'll say one thing and they'll have a different meaning in their own mind. So they won't speak anything straightforward. If they want to, for example, sometimes this happens when someone wants to express jealousy, when someone feels jealous of someone else. Instead of like jealous is an opposite, like you don't like someone's good, then what they will do is they will give an appreciation, like they will give compliments to that person of the quality that they are jealous of. So this is a kind of like they in their mind they mean something, and in when they speak they mean something. So such a person, uh, kind of, yeah, it of course breeds mistrust. So whether you yourself are a wicked person or if you encounter a wicked person, uh, always know that everything gets noticed. Whatever nature you have, it gets noticed at some point of time. How their words will be anxiety inducing, which is udvega karam. uh, Sometimes certain lines when people say, it will cause some kind of disturbance in our own minds. These lines, they are not always so directly disturbing. They might be very subtle. They might be, sometimes we can't even notice what is we can't even directly confront the person saying "Ki this is a anxiety inducing or udvegakara word," but we will know it in our own minds. So that is one thing. Their words will be causing immediate fear and agitation, like speaking negatively, like you going out to, maybe you going in a flight or train, and these people will be talking about accidents, like train accidents. What if this happens, what if that happens, what if kind of negative talk. That is one of the anxiety inducing talk. Another is giving examples of incidents from their own life, some negative incidents pointing towards your own current state or current journey. So such that is also kind of a udvegakara talk. So their words and actions, uh, yeah, they create constant state of stress and anxiety. So you should always look out for them. So always think from the point of view of impact and not the intent. So people might have different intents. Even the we can't know the intent of the person. We can only know how it impacts, how whatever they say or they do impacts us. If it impacts negatively, always try to avoid the person altogether or keep the boundaries if it's not possible. Their words will be cruel, crurum. So, yeah, this cruelty could be pointed towards you or people that you hold dear. That is one way, that is very direct. The indirect way is talking about someone else, like belittling someone else, like gossiping, saying some negative thing about someone else, making fun of someone else, destroying another's reputation. This could be your own reputation also. Whatever negative the person, weak person talks in front of you, there is an equal amount of possibility for the person to talk the same way in front of other people about you. So always have that in mind, and they will be very dreadful. Ekanta Daranam. So their talks will be very I mean, it can poison mind and body. Yeah, team or community. Like if they create a toxic environment, and always again they might have good intentions. Also, sometimes people do it unknowingly. Also, always think from the impact side, and if it's impacting negatively, then keep a check and try to transform the person or try to get rid of the person. In the modern relevance, yeah, in the modern corporate world, it's basically the colleagues. The double-tongued one is the person who gossips, triangulates communication. Triangulation is when taking word from one person to other, uh, different saying different things to different people, creating to create conflict. Like one can say different things to different people depending on like mirroring the person. That's fine. That's not a problem. But when it is done with an intent to create conflict, like oh, like randomly they might say ki, oh, this person has said this about you, and that causes, I mean, we don't directly blame the person who said it, like the wicked person. We blame the person, like they are talking about the person. We, I mean, we didn't see, we didn't hear also whether they said or not, but we in our own minds we have this judgment already made ki, that person has said something negative about me. So that happens. Anxiety inducing actions, yeah, unpredictable deadlines or sudden meetings, all those things, or even having like micromanaging people. Also, that is all. Micromanaging is also kind of a anxiety-inducing thing. Someone who don't give free hand to the employees. I mean, to the level that should be given. Giving vague feedbacks, not being specific. Then you yourself will be thinking, oh, what I have done, what might have I have done wrong. All that will happen, creating a culture of free fear. This happens when every day your manager will tell you to log in your work. Why did you? What did you do in this particular 10 minutes of gap? Why did you take so many breaks? So such things, like even if the work is done and you are being questioned on every specific detail, then it's kind of a fear mongering environment. And someone who certainly sabotages projects. Subtle sabotaging is subtle sabotaging is when there is so much of talking and very little doing. That's the colleague who will do this subtle sabotage. Cruel communication, criticizing. making sarcastic jokes on people's looks and other things which might not be taken in a funny way by the person. So this also happens. Again, every time look from the impact point of view, not from the intent point of view. And people who have sole purpose, their purpose is only to harm. So sometimes people don't give, I mean, there is different ways, right? You can communicate feedback and you can give in a constructive way, and there is another way ki, some there is some fight at the house and you came here and taking out that frustration on the employee. So that kind of communication is also very harmful. Or maybe they might have, again, because of this communication they might have grudge on you, and every time you do something they'll keep giving negative feedbacks and keep rejecting your proposals. All that can also happen. That is also a kind of a wicked person's way of communication. A scenario you can try, we'll see. A team member, Priya, consistently praises her colleagues' ideas in public meetings, but is later heard privately criticizing the same ideas to the manager, causing confusion and weakening team trust. According to the shloka, which quality is Priya primarily displaying? It is double dominance, saying something in the public and saying something else in the private to other person. So you can use this journal. See, look for the signs. There might be more signs. Look for the signs which cause anxiety in you. Certain people might be saying certain things. Distinguishing intent, right? You should. So there might be people who will have. Sometimes people make fun out of an intention to make friends with you. That is also possible. But if it is impacting, look from the impact point of view and also from the intent point of view, and communicate the same very respectfully to the same person. Like, this causes trouble to me, or you can tell your HR also. Constructive action is when, see if what kind of action you can take. One is to just recognize and avoid, because it's very difficult to change the fundamental nature of a person. Second is try to communicate that to the person, or try to go along with them in a strategic way where uh, you let them do the Vijihva thing, but don't be bothered by that. Don't be bothered by that, and make sure that you communicate that to your friends and colleagues also. Like, this person will say things like this. Don't trust them. So you can say that also. That way, the wicked person is also not troubled, and you also not troubled, and the work happens. Okay, the next one, jeweled serpent. Yeah, sometimes there might be people who are very knowledgeable, like a jewel, they might be having a jewel on them. But then, let's see. Durjanah parihartavyo विद्ययालङ्कृतो अपि सन मणिना भूषितः सर्पः किमसौ न भयङ्करः. So the verse is saying a wicked person, even if adorned with knowledge, should be avoided. Why? Is a serpent decorated with a jewel not terrifying? So wicked persons can be talented, can be knowledgeable, can be really good with whatever job they are doing, but even then they should be avoided, because wickedness is, always look at wickedness separate from the qualities and knowledge and all kinds of things that a person holds. Because no matter what they might be having, the wickedness will always try to harm. Even the knowledge will be used for wicked purposes. So that's why. So what it means ki character is something that transcends qualification. So yeah, we should prioritize character in the sense the satya, how trustworthy a person is, what they speak, what they do, and what they mean. If they are aligned, that means they are good and perfect. If that is not aligned, if that is not aligned in particularly professionally, personal life it's a different thing. On a professional level, if it's not aligning, then it's difficult to work with such person because there can't be trust. So Durjana should be avoided regardless of their knowledge or skills. A similar verse, I mean, it's not about Durjana, about fools, Sri Rama says. It's better to have one, okay, that's a different thing. One Pandita over thousand fools. Okay, a wicked person should always be avoided because even if a snake, like the analogy says, even if the snake is having jewel on it, it is still something that can harm because jewel doesn't make any difference to the poison that it has. In a modern world, modern relevance is in the corporate world. We have people who are brilliant, high performing employees who are also could be toxic, right? Even in normal life also there will be people who are extremely intelligent, knowledgeable and great, but they might be jealous, or they might be someone who don't share their knowledge, or someone who might look down on others because of this same quality. So it's not like knowledge will always make person mahamana. It can make someone arrogant also. it, so it might make them egoistic and all. Such people also will be there. They might use that knowledge for unethical or malicious activities also. But you should not overlook, right? It's possible. I think this happens also because of the value that they bring in terms of work. Leaders generally they overlook, but when it's about a team, you are building a team or an organization, there should be like these are like weeds in your crop, okay, and you should always pluck these weeds out and remove them, or else it will cause harm. It will suck the energy of the other plants which are going normally. So yeah, you should do that because it these people can poison team morale, and they can also destroy psychological safety. They can drive away other talented people. They might not let others grow because they want to stay on top. A good leader or a person who is brilliant or someone really knowledgeable should be able to pull others to their level instead of suppressing them so they can stay on top. Create legal and yeah, this also can happen because when the person is too brilliant and also having wicked nature, they can commit corruption, which can cause legal and reputational risks. uh, Again, use their intelligence to manipulate system and people for personal gain. This also can happen. So one line you can remember is no brilliant jerks in the workplace or in the life also. So you can use this. A scenario: a company's top salesperson, Rohan, brings in 40% of the revenue. However, he is known to be arrogant, belittles junior team members, and occasionally misrepresents product features to close a deal. The management. The management is aware but hesitant to act due to his high performance. According to the shloka, what is the greatest risk of keeping Rohan? So he is a jewel serpent. There is one money on top of him, but he is like a sarpa that will inevitably harm the company's culture eventually, and that will bring overall team morale down, and overall it will become a net negative. That's the possibility, and that's what will happen in the future. Always, when it's about organizations, you should think long term. So when we look at the long term, it's better to remove that person. I mean, first you can try to maybe communicate that quality to everyone, and help them save themselves from him, to make them understand, or tell Rohan himself ki this is not how we should be doing, this is causing trouble. Most probably the wicked person being Being a wicked person, the person might not listen. So try to get rid of that person. You can use this. So it's about a balance between competence and character. When you become more competent, you should not become arrogant and wicked. You should keep check of your own truth, how much you are aligned with truth, and how harmless you are for the other people, and how uh, humble you have become with the knowledge. So you can use this journal. Think of a time you have encountered. You might have encountered such people. It's it's possible, or you yourself might be the person like that. So with that awareness, you can try to get rid of such qualities. It's about awareness only. There's nothing like you cannot change. And look at the cost. Like if you're a leader, and you should try to categorize people into this box also, and see what is the cost of that person, and how you will take some step to get rid of or protect the organization from such wickedness. Yeah, causeless anger. अकारणा विष्कृतकोपधारिणः दुर्वचः सुदुःसहं सन्निपतेत् सदा मुखे. For one who bears and displays anger without reason, unbearable and harsh words always reside in their mouth. Again, like a wicked person only, like we have seen previously, a person who is having causeless anger in their own self, uh, they will have this thing, harsh words and unbearable words, negative. So a person who is speaking unbearable, like always shouting or making inappropriate comments or harsh words, like harsh word is just this, like there are always negatives in a person and positives in a person. Being harsh is always pointing out the negative in the person, always showing it up, always highlighting that. So such things will happen. So if you yourself are a person who is having holding this akarana kopa, causeless anger, you will have these kind of qualities, and you can be by being aware, you can try to avoid that. Okay, wicked person again. This is also a quality of a wicked person. So they will be having a causeless anger. There won't be any proper reason for their anger, and even if there is a reason for an anger, it's not justified. Like to speak harsh and in a hurtful way to some person is not really a thing that can be justified. It should always be constructive. It couldn't be criticism of the work or any job that they are doing. It can't be a personal attack. So they will have this unbearable and harsh words. Okay. Yeah, their speech is not a tool for communication, but a weapon of their irrational anger. Like they just want to get rid of their anger. Like again, same thing. People who have fights at home or some other place, or they might be tired of government or some event that has happened outside, and then that anger will start bursting out in the office places. So always get over with whatever thing that you come across. Like if there is a anything that has caused anger or any kind of anxiety or trouble to you, try to close it, bring a closure to that, or else it remains in the mind and it somehow comes out in some moments. That becomes a reason for the causeless anger. So yeah, in the corporate world, these are like basically people who are on top, like managers or leads. They take people under them for granted, and they might show this quality of causeless anger, but it's the overall top management should make sure that that kind of allowance is not given for any person, particularly when. So it's basically displayed or expressed as criticism, yelling, sarcasm, and negativity, which makes everyone, yeah, around them walk on eggshells, kind of. Yeah. So it destroys psychological safety. It hinders collaboration. It will become difficult to collaborate with a harsh person. Causes extreme stress and burnout. A scenario. This is a visualization of the same. A manager, Mr. Sharma, often gets furious about minor formatting errors in report. His voice rising and his critique becoming personal and harsh. The team feels constantly on edge. What does this behavior, according to the shloka, most clearly indicate? So that person is a wicked person, basically. That's what it indicates. So they or if you yourself are a person, you can the strategy for calming could be a direct strategy is to bring changes in the food habits, start eating more sattvic food, which is nourishing and which is uh, sweet, not so sweet, kind of nourishing and starch-filled carbohydrates like ghee, honey, kind of things, and also breathing exercises. Some meditation or pranayama can also help. Always try to see how you yourself will feel if someone does the same act to you. That way, try to cultivate empathy. When you cultivate empathy, you won't do such harsh wording and all. And always it is through a soft and sweet speech you can win over people, especially when you are a leader and when you have to go with a large team and when you have to go with a team. So yeah, become aware of the impact of your durvacha and also the trigger. What is the trigger and the strategy? Like I said, satvika bhojana and pranayama and such things, and also some even workouts, some rigorous workouts also can help. The energy needs to go out basically, and you get some good endorphins. The next one, existential threat. This also happens. It's basically for the king and even for normal people also. Let's see. तुल्यार्थं तुल्यसामर्थ्यं मर्मग्नं व्यवसायिनम् अर्धराज्यहरं भृत्या यो हन्यात् स न हन्यते. A person who neutralizes a subordinate who is of equal value, equal capability, knows the core secrets, is enterprising, and can seize half the kingdom, that king is not himself destroyed. So basically, in a kingdom, this can also be applied in the political world also when there is a same in a let's say in a party there is another person who is of equal value and equal strength and uh, equal popularity and they are trying to grow. Such a person should be subdued. I mean, or else they will take over your position in politics. In even if you're a leader or a king, that's what is being said. If that person is subdued, then the king will not get destroyed. If that person is not I mean, if that person is like you let them grow. Okay, let's say, okay, that person, okay, let him grow. I mean, it doesn't really cause any harm. Then it will eventually cause harm because your value will go down. So it's kind of a strategy, a covert strategy in real life. So this is not something so advisable. If there is a person of equal value, you should try to outgrow them if possible, or else you can just appreciate their talent. Uh, or else, I mean, subduing and destroying them is not really a good plan. But when it comes to a king should protect themselves for sure, and they should not let another person rise to their level and take over their position. Okay. तुल्यार्थम तुल्य सामर्थ्यम equal value, equal capability, no nor obstacle. So one strategy is to appoint them as under you, and make friends with them and have them work for you. This is a strategy that is used even in many fields, particularly in business and in the film industry also. What happens ki when a new person starts rising, when a new star comes up, what already established stars, what they'll do is they'll try to make friends with them. Then it feels as if they are with them and they are all together, and their value also will go high. If they are enemies with them, then they'll be compared and they'll be looked down. All that will happen. So yeah, okay. They are also ambitious in the corporate world. We'll see if a person is, so in a company, if if the employee does not have same goals as the company's goals, or if their goals does not align with company's goals, then it's better for them to leave the company, or the leadership should make sure that such a person may not be needed. Because imagine you're working for Google and you want to build another browser by yourself. That means you are only there to learn their secrets. You're not there to help the organization grow, right? So that way, such a person should be taken care of in some way. They should be neutralized by not giving so much power to them. Maybe one way, restructuring responsibilities to ensure no single individual has unchecked control over critical functions. Governance can be strengthened. So instead of personalizing, yeah. So even if there is an outshining performer, that performance should be in such a way that it appears as if it is coming from the institution and the position and not from the person. It should not be attributed to the person themselves. So you can do that. Then managed exits. If there is a possibility, proper exit can be there, because we don't want in an organization we don't want people to collect all the secrets and take a bunch of people outside and start a new startup. Right? We want our own startup or our own company to grow. So you can give a proper exit to that person and let them grow in their own pace and not under the shadow of the organization. Okay, the next one scenario, let's see. The VP of engineering at a tech startup, Aarti, has become so critical that investors now consult her directly. Yeah, this is what it means, right? When your clients start consulting your employees directly, when they start making deals with them directly, that's where it becomes tricky and problematic. When the leaders are bypassed, and the employees are being contacted for decision making directly. She knows all product secrets and the entire engineering team is loyal only to her. She has started subtly pushing for a strategy that conflicts with the CEO's vision. What is the greatest danger? And according to this shloka, the danger is this. The CEO's inaction, Aarti now fits all the criteria of an Ardharajya Haram, a subordinate who can seize half the kingdom because the employees are loyal. The person knows at the entire process how the work goes, and there are clients also trusting the person. So here, the individual has overpowered the organization. So such a person should be neutralized, or else it can cause threat to the CEO or the leader itself or the organization itself. Okay, you can use this for your own journaling. So identify the marmagna. Marmagna is one who knows the secrets. Assess their ambition, whether they have their own ambitions of growing a new company, or they are willing to continue in the organization and work for you. Then try to find a strategy for a stability, like how you can, instead of uh, instead of having the power in the individual, try to make it, uh, try to institutionalize it. Like instead of focusing on a person, try to uh, redirect that same, whatever is coming from that person, try to show it as if it is coming from the position and not the person itself. So always empower the positions and keep individuals as just as part of the position, and not replacing the position itself, kind of like the position should be having more power. Like for example, if you take in our case Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, the aura and the image of Narendra Modi has built in such a way that he overshines, like outshines the position itself. It's when India now in some way is recognized with Narendra Modi and not. So when he goes out, he has his own image apart from the prime minister's position itself. So that means outshining. So again, the systems systems should be such that always the focus and attention comes back to the position and not the person. Okay, the next one. Mm, शूरत्वयुक्ता मृदुमन्दवाक्या जितेन्द्रियाः सत्यपराक्रमाश्च प्रागेव पश्चाद्विपरीतरूपा एते भृत्या न हिता भवन्ति. This is about the deceiving kind of subordinates who first initially appear brave, speak softly and gently, and also seem self-controlled and have true valor. But later it is noted that this is all just show up and they don't really have a proper. Uh, I mean, whatever qualities they have shown initially, they are not there. This happens because of poor hiring. Basically, it's the problem of the HR. They should be having the proper check, and it's also possible they might bypass those tests because uh, it's possible for people to act in such a way and then later reveal themselves. This happens even in normal life also. So basically, introverts will be like this kind of, or extroverts also. They might appear different externally, and then eventually they might reveal some other personality after once they get comfortable. This is fine. I mean, this is something that happens in a personal life is okay, but on a professional level it should not be the case. At professional level, one should be able to present their true self and be able to maintain that consistency. So that consistency should be there. Uh, so or else it will be like hypocrisy. So yeah. So if one lesson is key, when you find someone as so perfect, then always doubt that person. Have some way to know their true level of skill. Okay, because eventually they might. I mean, you can look for the consistency. That is for sure. But at the initial phase, always have some surprise test that should know what is the real level of skill, or even you can increase the difficulty level of the task to push them to the limits. In a modern relevance, yeah, impression manager, right? It's about managing the impression, how one is perceived. If you can manage that, so many people do. I mean, they do that. Like you just have to manage the impression, and the work. Most works will get done. Like you don't really need to be. having the substance. This is what networking, right? Sometimes people enter into some positions just because of the network, and that happens because they have managed their impression, how they are perceived. But that's not really a healthy thing. You can see, like, if you find someone like who appear as if how did this person came to this position kind of persons, you can try that. In office spaces, what happens is they create a toxic us versus them culture, because this is how they maintain the image, right? When there is a conflict going on, then they can, like, they can try, like, that is a way to divide the attention. They erode trust within teams because their behavior is inconsistent and unpredictable. Yeah, they cause trust issues because they themselves are having. I mean, their personality will eventually get revealed, and that will cause problem. Their true character is revealed how a person treats everyone, especially when they think no one important is watching. Yeah, this is what it means. True character is how they will behave with higher positions and lower positions, how when they act, when observed, when not observed. So all that will come into play. Initially there'll be prageva, and then they'll be changing. They'll become a viparita rupa. A scenario: a new team lead, Samir, is exceptionally respectful and soft spoken with his director. However, his team members observe that in private meetings he is dismissive of their ideas and becomes irritable under pressure, a stark contrast to his public persona. What does Samir's behavior exemplify according to the shloka? Viparita Bharatya. Yeah, yes. So these kind of people will be there, and you should always try to come up with some strategy to know them and try to help them uh, be their true self professionally, because that will help them also to be free and happy and be normal. They don't need to have this trouble or stress of maintaining the image. Okay, you can use this journal. You can find, like, you can see, like, these kind of people are will be there. You will find them. So you can see ki, is there any person like that, a person like with a mask, and how did they reveal themselves? Just a study you can do. I mean, you don't need to be harsh or something. A kind of a normal study when you come across new people. Initially, this will be the case with in general also. When people you meet initially, they'll have certain personality, and eventually they might become something else, because as they become more close and more open and more free, this happens. It's not a negative quality as such. You can just observe and see, and it becomes problematic in workspaces, because where there requires a real work, and if you cannot assess a person's skill and their character completely, then it will become a problem in the workplace. Yeah, I think we'll stop here, and uh, we'll complete it. We'll have another few more verses. Mm, yes. In the next class, we'll complete this chapter and we'll start with a new one.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay, Pooja ji. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.